Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a huge one, right? One of the most critical topics of our time, climate change. You've probably heard jokes like this one. Can't predict the weather because of climate change. But to really get what's going on, we gotta start with the basics. Get the language right?
So here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll talk about weather, climate, and change. Then we'll get into Earth's warming blanket, what's causing it. After that, a planet under pressure, the impacts. And finally, we'll look at mitigation and adaptation, what we can actually do about it.
All right, let's jump right in. Section 1, Weather, Climate, and Change. It's so important to get the language right here.
Okay, so what is weather? Well, just look outside your window. The rain, the snow, the sunshine, the wind happening right now in your city, that's weather. It's local, it's temporary, it's what's happening minute by minute.
Climate, on the other hand, is the big picture. It's the long-term pattern. Think of it this way. A city might have a surprisingly rainy day. That's its weather. But if that city is, say, in the middle of a desert, you expect it to be hot and dry. That expectation, built up over decades, is its climate.
So here it is, side by side. Weather is short-term, changes constantly, and it's studied in meteorology. Climate, that's the long-term game, way more stable, and that's the world of climatology. I love this idea that weather is the mood, but climate is the personality.
And that brings us to the big one, climate change. Now look, the Earth's climate has always changed. That's true. So what's the big deal now? Well, it's the speed. The concern for scientists is that this warming is happening way, way faster than anything we've seen in known history. And the evidence is overwhelming that it's being caused by human activities.
So that's the next big question, right? What's actually causing the planet to heat up so fast? Let's get into the mechanics of it.
It all comes down to something called the greenhouse effect. Now, this is a totally natural process, but it's being supercharged by us. The best way to think about it is to imagine the Earth's atmosphere as a cozy blanket.
And this natural blanket is a good thing. It's absolutely crucial for life on Earth. The sun's energy comes in, warms us up, and this blanket traps some of that heat. Without it, our planet would just be a frozen ball of ice. We need it to stay at a comfy, livable temperature.
But here's the problem. We're now dealing with an enhanced greenhouse effect. By burning fossil fuels and other activities, we're pumping extra greenhouse gases into the air. We're essentially thickening that blanket, right? And a thicker blanket traps more heat. That extra heat is what's causing global temperatures to rise. That's the core of modern climate change.
Okay, so the planet is warming up. So what? What does that actually mean in the real world? Let's take a look at the impacts of this planet under pressure.
Just look at this number, 82%. That's the percentage of ice that has just vanished from the glaciers on Mount Kilimanjaro since 1912. Think about that. That's an absolutely stark example of the changes that are already happening right now.
And these consequences aren't some abstract thing for the future. They're real, and they're hitting people right now. We're seeing widespread flooding across Africa, but also severe droughts that are devastating agriculture. This leads to crop failures, livestock losses, and a massive food crisis for millions of people. It's a very real human story. I think this cartoon just captures it perfectly. It's like our planet is a sick patient, and we're seeing all these symptoms: deforestation, emissions. It really drives home that we're dealing with a whole system that's under some serious stress. And this is the key takeaway from the world's top climate scientists at the IPCC. They're saying, look, what happens next, the severity of all this, it really depends on what we do right now. Our actions in the near term are what will decide the future. So that leads us to the most important part, doesn't it? What can we actually do about it? Let's get into the solutions: mitigation and adaptation.
Okay, so there are two main paths of action here, and it's really important to get the difference. You've got mitigation and you've got adaptation. Mitigation addresses the causes. Adaptation addresses the impacts. The best analogy I've heard is a bathtub that's overflowing. Mitigation is running to turn off the faucet. Adaptation is grabbing a mop to deal with the water that's already on the floor. We absolutely have to do both.
So let's talk mitigation, attacking the cause. This is all about cutting those greenhouse gas emissions. How do we do it? Well, things like practicing energy efficiency, massively increasing our use of renewables like solar and wind, shifting to electric vehicles and better public transit, and of course, protecting our forests, which are like the planet's lungs.
And then there's adaptation. This is about managing the effects that are already happening or are unavoidable. It means we have to adjust. We're talking about building better flood defenses, developing crops that can survive in a drought, protecting coastal habitats like mangroves, and getting way better at warning people about extreme weather.
And this is what it looks like in the real world. These are real solutions happening right now. We're talking about flood protection walls, green roofs on buildings to keep cities cool, reforesting areas. All of these things make our communities more resilient to the changes we're already facing.
Ultimately, this is the goal, right? It's about building a sustainable future where people and the planet can both thrive. A world with green cities powered by clean energy, with healthy ecosystems. A world where we're all interconnected in a much healthier way.
But, and this is a big but, we have to act fast. The IPCC is crystal clear on this. To limit the most serious effects, global greenhouse gas emissions have to peak by 2025. I mean, that's basically now. The timeline is incredibly tight. It really highlights the urgency of the moment we're in.
So where does that leave us? Well, we have the strategies. We know what to do for both mitigation and adaptation. The challenge isn't really a what anymore. It's a how. How quickly can we act? And can we act together? The future really isn't written yet. And what we do in the next few years is going to be absolutely critical in deciding what that future looks like.
That's a wrap on today's Explainer. If you're loving the content, show us some love with a like and subscribe for more urban planning goodness. Got a question or topic you'd like us to cover? Leave it in the comments. See you in the next video.